start.
Okay. So we are talking about wellness in you and creating a vision for a healthier future for yourself. And we were going to ask a couple of questions. You don't have to put the questions in the chat, but you might want to write them down, or you might just want to think about it in terms of what challenges do you have with your health? What challenges do you have with your health? I have a few. He knows all about them. But maybe we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. Yes. Anyone have any specific challenges with their health? What are some of the main challenges that you think that people have that walk through the door of the Perrymount? What's the most common?
Because we're mainly physical treatment, we have pain coming through.
Pain.
Pain is the most. Physiological stuff, digestion.
Digestion, yeah.
Stress.
Yeah.
Lots of the stress goes into physical stuff, into digestion.
So it's
sleep, not very good sleep.
Yeah. So I think where the Perrymount is similar to like a doctor's surgery is that most people go because there's something wrong. They're in pain of some description, right? That can be psychological pain, physiological pain. That's probably one of the main reasons people go. Does anyone ever come to the Perrymount Clinic and go, I'm feeling fantastic and I just want to feel better? Actually, they do.
They do sometimes.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well,
why is that?
Because as I know, some of you in today on the Wellness Club and the whole, I wanted to change the clinic more from pain to prevention.
Yeah.
To trying to feel healthy all the time. So more and more people are coming in, and actually they are feeling healthy, but they're still coming in for their treatment.
So Christian set up the Wellness Club that I think some of you are a part of, which was really just about don't wait for something to go wrong, just invest in your well-being every week, every month.
Yes,
every month.
Yeah.
So if I said to all of you, what does wellness mean to you? Because ultimately it's just a word, and the context of the word is really different for everybody. But one of the definitions of wellness is what you do to prevent disease and prolong life. What you do to prevent disease and prolong life. So I wonder how many of you would like to prevent disease and prolong your life. I think most people, if you ask them, they'd say yes. But then what we do to actually make improvements, I think there's quite a bit of confusion about what should we be doing, what should we be eating, what should we be thinking, what exercise should we do, how many hours should we be sleeping. There's quite a lot of confusion.
Yeah, and that's what I think. Everyone is individual, isn't there? And each different thing will suit different people. One thing doesn't suit everyone. That's where I like to come from, that everyone's individual as well. So prevention, individual treatment plans, nothing works for everyone. These are kind of the points that I most like about how I treat.
Yeah, and I'm one of these people that firmly believes, I believe there's an answer to everything. I believe that there are some great treatments out there for people to help prolong their life and prevent disease. I think it would be a good idea for us to share with you a little bit about ourselves. I think some of you don't know who I am, and I'll more than happy to share some of my story. But Christian's story is really interesting, and it's not something you really talk about, very much. But I think this is the other thing we'd like you to think about, is that if you want to have better health and better well-being, what's your why? What's the why for doing it? Because if you don't have a big enough reason to do it, then why would you do it? And most people's reason to improve their health in most cases is just when they're in pain. They want to get out of pain. So we're asking all of you, why do you want to improve your health? What's your why? But your story is really fascinating in terms of when you were a young boy and you were on a skateboard. Do you want to just come forward in this way a little bit? That's it. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the skateboard. And where is the skateboard?
I threw it, burnt it. Bonfire. Well, that's how I got into osteopathy. I only told you this the other day, is that I, at about 14, fell off a skateboard, hurt my back, hit my head. And then my parents started to take me to see an osteopath.
Yeah, where was that?
That was he was in Hawley. And that's how I got introduced into osteopathy. And from then, it was the first thing I've ever wanted to do. and the only thing I've ever.
So you were treated by this person, and you felt better, right?
And I loved the whole mystery of it, of going in there in pain and then walking out better.
Yeah.
And thinking, how did he know? How did he know where it hurt? What's he doing? How's he doing? You know, and at 14, you don't know what's inside you, how it works. I just loved it.
Yeah.
And then I was playing lots of cricket, and I was gonna try and be a professional cricketer, actually. So I was going down that way. And my brother went to be a professional cricketer. And then I went off to osteopathy, and I'm very thankful I did.
I'm very thankful. Who's thankful that Christian became an osteopath? I mean, I've met many practitioners in my life, and you're just on a different level. So my story is I'm from London, and it's actually quite strange, which was a bit of the story that we'll share with you, that how our stories have kind of come together very, very close. And then we actually met. We must have met 20 years ago. So I grew up in Northwest London. I became a health and fitness professional. I became an aerobics instructor, a personal trainer. I worked in the fitness industry for many years. I think I've written now 21 books. I was on TV for many years on GMTV. I've spoken all over the world on health and well-being. I'm really passionate about health. But I met Christian when I moved here, because I was involved with the golf college. That those of you that are local, there's a golf college here at Linfield. I was a director of the golf school, and I met you through Ben Davis, who did a fitness assessment with me. But let's go back to you. So you became an osteopath. You were studying in Hampstead, which is where I grew up, and something happened. Something happened to you. Your health. You had a bit of a wake-up call.
Yeah, I got mysteriously ill from what turns out to be something genetic that I've had all my life, but didn't realize. No. So where you have very low platelets, which are what stops you bleeding. So they're super low, like now, but that manifested in bleeding into my bowel and things, and that was when I was at college. So I had that kind of yearly happening, kind of prevented me take exams, and I would take them a few months later. And then, anyway, I still got through, but lots of hospital visits. Lots of had two big operations. In fact, I forgot to say this. So I had the first operation. They did the wrong thing, and I had the wrong part of my bowel removed. Did I say that?
No.
So that got me kind of questioning, not questioning NHS, but thinking I can look a little bit deeper into this. And I didn't really want to go in for it, but anyway, I had to go in for it. But they did do the wrong thing in the end. And
does anyone else have that experience? You've gone to hospital and they've removed something that they shouldn't have removed. Well, I'm glad you're still here. So you were in and out of hospital for how long?
Say 3 or 4 years.
And they removed part of your bowel, and they removed something they shouldn't have removed.
They removed a big section, which was the wrong bit. And then the following year, I had to. It hadn't fixed, which was meant to be fixed. And then I went back in, and then I had the right bit removed.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then did you get better?
Yes, completely better. But the low platelets don't get better.
Yeah.
But the bleeding bit has.
And that's manifested with part of. So Christian's, you're like a scientist to me. You're constantly looking at ways to improve. So obviously you fell off a skateboard, and that made you go to an osteopath, and you thought, oh, I could do that because I like fixing people. Then you got sick, and then you wanted to find the treatments for yourself, but help other people. But then also your eldest son Noah, he has the condition as well, right?
Yeah, so he has the low platelets as well. So I think that's what pushed me maybe towards loving the naturopathic side of things.
Yeah, because he's not just an osteopath. You know, what is a naturopath?
Basically, a naturopath believes the body can heal itself.
Yeah.
So I have quite a nice balance of, I believe that and I love that, but I have had surgery to help me. Noah's had, when he was 12 years old, he's had major sort of intervention from the hospital, and that fixed him. You know, these things I was unable to fix with my naturopathic.
It's interesting, right? Those of you that know Christian, to hear more of who he is and what he does and why he does it. And, you know, for me, I had chronic fatigue in my 20s. So I only had really one speed of moving through the world, which was fast. I was born 6 weeks premature. I was in a hurry to come out. I've been in a hurry ever since. Some people said I had hurry sickness. And I've always just been very busy. But I had a lot of success to the outside world. But inside, I might have looked strong and healthy, but inside I was a mess. I had, as I said, I had chronic fatigue for years. I saw so many practitioners wanting practitioners to make me better. But there was only one thing that really made me better with a virus like chronic fatigue, and that was time and learning to move through the world differently. But my partner, who we got married in, we met in 2011, 2010 and 2011, she had a massive epileptic fit, rushed to hospital, given 18 months to live. She had surgery, 8.5-hour surgery at the same hospital that you did. That was in 2011. You were there in 2008? 1998, which is when I just moved back to be at my parents' house. But so 12 years later, my wife's there having a surgery for her brain. Unfortunately, the cancer came back. We went to America where she had this treatment, which was pretty crazy. But when we came back, she had these horrendous headaches, and they would go on for 3 or 4 days. And we were living in London at the time. And I said, you need to see a Christian, because Christian is also known as the baby whisperer. I don't know how many of you know that, because you do a lot of work with babies with colic. And I knew, because I'd lived here before, that, the work that you do with pain. Anyway, Hannah was like, no, it's too far. And then we ended up moving here. And I cannot begin to tell you, within you seeing her a few times, her headaches just completely went. Well, what did you do? Because it's all this cranial stuff.
Oh, with the cranial, yeah. I mean, obviously she had tension around her neck and things like this, but she's had, so when you feel with the cranial osteopathy, you feel the movement in the bones, between the bones.
Yeah, so you feel the movement, and you can manipulate the bones.
Yeah, and of the bones. So manipulation is obviously a bit a strong word. You try and allow the bone and the movement to get back to where it should be, which is where naturopathy comes in, which is that body has a programmed into being better, hopefully, and a pattern of what should be good. So we were just, I think, restoring that pattern back, because she's obviously had the surgery and things.
Yeah. So it's interesting when Christian says about the body has its natural way. So there is this thing called Heron's law.
Herring's law.
Herring's law.
Herring's law.
So tell us what that is.
So this is one of the things that I want to bring up with everyone, because I love this, and I wanted these Zooms, if they're going to become more regular, to get across to everyone these naturopathic laws, which I love, and they give you a bit of a blueprint on maybe how to just live a daily life if you understand how your body works better, and if you become ill, how to get better, maybe why you become ill and things. But Herring's law of cure is an order of how you get better.
Yeah.
And it's 3 things. It's from the inside out, in reverse order of how you got ill, so you get better in reverse order, and from the top down. And obviously, I learned this at college. So this Herring had obviously figured this out many years before.
So the top down, as in working it out from your head first and what's going on?
Well, you can have, this is the one that I don't necessarily
still understand.
There's 2 different thoughts. So from a structural osteopathic point of view, you get better from the top down, which would be your neck first, and then say your low back, or your neck, low back, knee, top down. But did he mean from your head, from your mind?
Yeah.
From your mind into body. I'm obviously coming from a osteopathic point of view, so I look at the structural more.
And I look at it from the point of view of how are you thinking? How you think? How's that affected how's your psychology affected your physiology?
Yeah.
I think whichever way you look at it, if you come from it from a point of curiosity, I don't know how many of you know this, but we now have a new term in the medical literature, which is anxiogenic. In fact, we have 2. Anxiogenic, which means a society that produces anxiety. And I wonder how much disease or poor health comes about from stress, worry, doubt, anxiety. But there's also another word, which is inflammaging, which just means that as we get older, we are more prone to inflammatory challenges in the body. And inflammation is related to heart disease to cancer to diabetes to dementia. And I think we all know that so much of these health challenges, there are things we can do, right? But it seems it's a shame, I think, in many cases, that it takes a big wake-up call for us to finally decide that we're going to change our health. And unfortunately, my wife had a secondary cancer in her brain in 2021, and she passed away in 2023. And obviously, that was incredibly difficult, and it must have been very difficult for you, because you were also very close to Hannah. But what Hannah was amazing at was she was what I would say was very intentional. In fact, I have that word tattooed on my arm. It says intentions. When you're intentional, you think first before you act. And when Hannah first got diagnosed in 2011, she used to smoke, she used to drink, but a brain tumor. She stopped smoking, she stopped drinking, she changed all the cleaning products in the house. Yeah. She ate a certain type of diet, which is called a ketogenic diet. She wrote a cookbook, and I believe she lived, given 18 months to live, she lived for an extra 13 years. But it's just a bit crazy that for a lot of people, we have to wait for something to go wrong before we decide to improve our health. So in terms of inflammation, because one of the things we wanted to talk about, how do you prolong your life? How do you prevent disease? How do you upgrade your well-being? How do you improve your understanding so you start to understand what you can do? And I suppose if there's one thing you took away from tonight, it's just starting to think about, why would you want to? What would improving your health and your well-being do for you? What would it give you? What would it get you? Is it important? Because for some people, maybe it isn't important. But any questions from anything we've said so far? I'm not sure, Christian, if you want to share anything. I'm just going to have a look on the chat here, which means you go out of focus. I have also had the hair intolerance test. Yeah, why don't you tell us actually about some of the, because a lot of people just don't know what goes on in the Perrymount clinic. So how long has the Perrymount clinic been going for?
15 years.
15 years?
Yeah.
And it was in Perrymount Road, first of all?
In Perrymount Road, hence Perrymount Clinic.
Yeah.
It got knocked down. We're now under the wine shop.
Yes.
We're on top of it.
So yes, I think, no, you're not. You're just over there.
We're just over here, but
yes.
Where the wine shop is, where the clinic used to be.
Yeah.
Well, there's 7 osteopaths, 3 massage, acupuncture, podiatry. We actually do less of the direct emotional talking therapies. So yeah, we don't have so much of that in there, actually. Then I do the naturopathy. So I have an avatar machine, which measures the acupuncture meridian conductivity or health. So you can actually look and see organs that are over or under active, so acute or chronic. So you can check liver, small intestine. So that's a physical thing. So you come in for that manually. The hair scan is actually a bioresonance one. So we use hair and then use a machine to put resonance through that. And then so you put in one resonance, like a phone number of something, like a phone number of, say, dairy, through the hair. And then you see if it comes up or down. So it picks up the reading when it comes out. So you're seeing if it's throwing out of balance. So in natural health, we're always looking for balance. So
you're seeing, like, with foods and everything in
food,
your
you
environment.
Hormone and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, you can do everything really. So you then look for too high. So that would be acute or short term. Too low would be more chronic, longer term. So again, that's kind of Herring's law of cure as well. You go from acute to chronic.
Yeah.
And when you get better, you go from chronic to acute.
Yes.
So people with osteopathy know that after osteopathy you get sore, you can get sore again. So that's going from that chronic back to acute, stirring things up. So the bioresonance checks that. Acupuncture.
Who's had acupuncture here? Anyone had acupuncture?
We've got lovely acupuncturists.
My acupuncturist, I was 19 and I had a groin injury. They were going to wire my pelvis together. And as the last resort, someone said, you should try acupuncture. I had 6 sessions of traditional Chinese acupuncture and the pain completely went. I mean, and you have Two acupuncturists, Alison and
Susie.
Susie.
So
Amazing.
acupuncture preventing you to have
Surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had someone recently using our new win back machine.
So what's the win back machine? I've had a go. That win back machine was win back machine, which a lot of Premiership football clubs have. I had that. It really helped me with my shoulder. What's the win back machine?
Radio frequency. So you can put a radio frequency through.
You're just a mad scientist, aren't you?
I love it. Yeah.
Hang on,
these are my normal.
I've got this is for Christian here. Magnetizing. So go on. It's bioresonance.
It's radio frequency.
Radio frequency.
High tens, muscle stimulation.
High tens. What's that?
That's like an electrical current. So lots of people know it from in pregnancy, but it's a sort of level above that. So that's for pain relief. So that floods the nerves with a signal to stop them having pain signals, really. Radio frequencies for.
So why do you think this kind of radio frequency and these types of treatments, TENS, aren't widely known? I don't know how many of you have heard of Nikola Tesla. So Nikola Tesla, if it wasn't for him, we probably wouldn't be sitting in here because, well, someone else might have invented the light bulb. But he also came up with loads of other inventions around treating the body with currency and frequency.
And electricity.
Electricity, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think these they can be called imponderables. So they're invisible.
Yeah. So
and I love all of those invisible healing modalities. So, our laser is light. So it's
you've got a laser treatment as well.
Yeah, we've got laser. Obviously, you can't see that because it's light. Radio frequency, can't see that because it's frequency. Electricity, can't see that, but you can feel them. So I love all these. I think those things maybe they're not so well known because they're hard to. You can't see them. They're hard to get hold of, aren't they? Yet in the healing circles, I think people find those odd. Yet when you phone Australia, that's fine.
No one thinks that's odd, does it?
No
one thinks it's odd that I could pick up this phone right now and I could phone you, but that would be a bit pointless.
Yeah, so
I could phone Chloe, who's here.
But so those sorts of things, converting those into healing things, people find those a bit harder to understand yet.
Yeah, it's such a fascinating thing about if we can't see it, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
If we can't, and I understand if you can't prove something, again, we can understand why that is. But
well, that's what the bioresonance is, so that putting the resonance of things through someone's DNA, which they find hard to understand, and then treating back with those frequencies or resonance. So I bought a new wallet the other day, and it had in it a credit card, and it had a RF blocker. So when you Apple Pay things, but people can pinch your money by having a machine of swiping the money off your phone. So it had a credit card in it that blocks that. So that credit card is imprinted with a frequency that blocks another phone taking money off your phone. I mean, that's on Amazon. You can buy that. Yeah, I've got machines that imprint things onto credit cards, and then you can give it to someone. You can walk around with a imprinted healing signal that you can carry around. That sounds really far-fetched.
Yeah, I think we can all make up our own minds as to why that is far-fetched. I don't think it's far-fetched. I just think there's so much that is possible and capable for us to improve our well-being. So I suppose, does anyone have any questions? Are you more inspired about your health and your well-being? I mean, what is actually possible? Because I think a lot of people, when they get to our age, I mean, you're 50, aren't you? I'm 55. I'm not sure how old everyone else is here, but I think people, when they get to a certain age, they just think, well, it's all downhill from here, or there's nothing I can do. And I think there is so much possibility, isn't there? But I think you have to be curious. You have to have a bit of an open mind, and you have to sort of want it. You have to want it as well.
Next year. I'm going to be 90 next year.
Wow. Let's have
I'd like to say that I've actually known Christian for an awfully long time, haven't I?
Yes, from the other clinic for a long time.
Is it Audrey? Audrey, what's your secret, Audrey?
Sorry?
What's your secret? What's your secret?
Oh, I don't know. But I will say one thing, and that is that I've actually always had osteopathy. My stepmother took me to an osteopath many, many years when I was a teenager. And then I've been living in Devon for quite a long time. And I had to make up my mind whether I was going to come back here or whether I was going to stay in Devon. And one of the pros of coming back here was that I knew I'd be able to see Christian again.
Yeah, it's lovely to see you again.
And
Yes.
it was really lovely to see you again.
Thanks, Audrey.
And definitely one of the pluses, you know. So
Well, I mean, that's amazing. You're 90 years old. So you were born in
1936.
Wow. Wow.
Before the war.
So what's your secret? What would you say to people around, you know, if you want to live a long life, what would you say? Apart from osteopathy.
Well, definitely having a positive attitude to everything.
Yes.
And I do get occasional feelings of being quite down, you know, and sort of thinking, where am I going? But I just have to try and back myself up and say, I'm going to be all right, you know. And I'm determined to celebrate my 90th birthday in some style.
And when's your 90th birthday?
90th birthday next March.
Wow.
Audrey plays piano and
You played. Oh, and I suppose that's another thing that you probably do that keeps you in a positive frame of mind and body. Playing the piano.
Yeah. Sorry?
Playing the piano.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes, I'm a musician. I played the organ when I was in Devon. I was an organist and choir master at the church there for about 8 years. Sadly, I can't actually play the organ anymore because there isn't one. But I mean, I find quite a difficulty with actually. I think it's not my fingers that don't work. It's there's a sort of missing link between my fingers and the brain, I think.
Well, maybe we'll get you an organ. Maybe we'll get you an organ for your 90th.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have, thank you so much. Does anyone else have any questions, either in the chat or if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question, you are more than welcome to do so. Hopefully you found this interesting this evening. I really wanted more people to know Christian's story and why he does what he does, and because I think there's so many people out there that are struggling and with their health and their well-being, and there's so much for people in the Perrymount Clinic. Any questions? Let me just have a look here. Love Christian and his new toys. Do you have any devices to help regenerate cartilage? The wind.
Well, the I don't know about the exact regeneration, probably, but it would be probably quite slow because it's obviously a hard substance like the cartilage. But with the laser and the windback that I've talked about, so the laser's light and the windback's radio frequency, that can go all the way through. So, for example, if you're talking about, what are you talking about there? So, say if you're talking about a knee, when we have osteopathy, we can't get into your knee. Obviously, we get to the surrounding. We can get to the ligaments, and then we can move the knee. So you passively move the knee to kind of pump and circulate. So the whole way for the body to heal is to get fresh supply of blood in and lymph, and then get the supply out. So good stuff in, bad stuff out. But the laser, which is like that, penetrates 5 centimeters, and the radio frequency goes all the way through. So you could take that all the way through the body from your neck down to your feet. So the radio frequency and the laser, you could put that through the cartilage, so you can actually get a lot deeper. So that's the possibility with those two treatments to get into the cartilage. But you've got to put the ingredients in. So you've got to have obviously the correct ingredients going in you, so your body can rebuild it. And then maybe the frequencies and things to stimulate circulation.
What foods would you recommend, or supplements?
Well, I mean collagens are super.
Bone broth.
Yeah, bone broth.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, I'm sure how they did it hundreds of thousands of years ago. You know, what kind of, you eat the part that you're trying to get better.
Absolutely,
or what looked like, you know, beetroot's good for the blood, and it is.
Tomatoes are good for the heart.
Yeah,
Walnuts are good for the brain.
all that kind of stuff. I love all that.
Yeah.
So
nature knows.
Yeah. So the regeneration, interesting one. Like I'm sure there's some studies that show, but a very interesting one for there's a really lovely study on the knees, and that is they x-rayed a load of people with knee arthritis, and I don't know the exact percentages, but loads and loads of them had worse arthritis in the good knee, and lots of them had equal arthritis in both knees, and then some worse in the good knee. So it wasn't the degeneration that was causing the pain, it was the inflammation in that joint.
Yeah.
And possibly the mechanics of how your body is. So you might have equal degeneration in both knees or hips, but the way you're walking with your low back or your pelvis is putting more pressure through one hip or one knee or one ankle. And then you eat some inflammatory food, or you have a night out or a late night, and then that starts to build all the stress, or exactly, a lack of sleep, the stress, what you eat, what you breathe, and then that puts the inflammation in that joint.
Yeah.
So then the question is, well, do you have that knee or hip replaced if you get down that far down the line, when your other knee is just as bad as that knee, and they want to replace that one? Or do you go, or at least try the lifestyle route of physical treatment, chemical, like water, hydration,
supplements,
and then emotional, if that's part of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's all one incredible system, and who could believe it wasn't that long ago when we actually thought these things weren't connected.
Yeah.
I know you've got a whole load of supplements as well, and actually one of the things that Christine and I massively promote is a particular mushroom called reishi, or Ganoderma, as it's also known. You've got that in tea and coffee. There's over 3,000 medical studies on that. I mean, look, it is a bit of a minefield in terms of, sometimes what to do. But I think having a big enough reason to do anything, and I think the most important thing is, as Audrey said there, is about being as positive as you can, despite the challenges that we all face living in this pretty crazy world. Any more questions? Do you have any devices? So any other questions? Well, if there aren't any more questions, then we will. Have you enjoyed this? Those of you, have you had some fun? I've had some fun. Bedtime soon for me, because I go to bed very early, Christian, as you well know.
Well, let me say that I think part of the clinic that I want to develop more is the community side of it. So we obviously have our patients that come in. We don't talk about what you come in for. It's all behind, obviously,
confidentiality.
And confidential. And I think that it would be nice to be able to promote more out to a community type feel, which might start at these Zooms, and then maybe we have in-person type things. But I've wanted to for a long time is to start having these, but you've really helped me, push to start today and do it, because Pete would happily stand up in front of Wembley Stadium and absolutely love talking to 100,000 people, and it would be your best day of your life. So, not necessarily.
But for you, you'd love it. For you, I mean, you're someone who's quite. Well, how would I describe you? You don't crave the limelight. You just love to do your work.
Yeah,
and also your goal is to build the clinic for it to be more of a community hub.
Yeah. So I would like it to be that if if we held these regularly, monthly or something, and then anyone out there who, like one of your friends or family, had some sort of health condition, and you just said the Perrymount might be able to help you.
Yeah.
And then you can send them on to one of these Zooms. They can send a question in. We can have myself and other practitioners and other people we know come on, help them in this style. And then maybe they know a bit more, and then they might come into the clinic, obviously, for the treatment. But this can be a stepping stone of come in, ask some questions.
Yeah.
And get that more of a community feel around health. It would just be lovely that the Perrymount was that hub of health. and we got so much knowledge in there as well. So obviously we're doing the hands-on physical treatment, but we know a lot of stuff that could help people, and it'd be lovely for them to be able to just come in and ask, and then we just share and educate. And I love educating on natural health. And
well, COVID definitely woke up a lot of people around the world, right? It most definitely did. Around, hang on, perhaps we're all a little bit more vulnerable than we thought we were, and we, people with comorbidity definitely seem to suffer more during that time, and so many of those factors are things that we can do something about. So thanks very much. If you guys like podcasts, I have a podcast called My 365, nearly 600 episodes. I think I've done a couple with you, but I think, thank you, Christian and Pete, very